Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your programming. Check us out. Go PHNX.com. No better time to become a diehard. 20% off the merchandise locker, free hat and or shirts every year you're signed up. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Bo Brack. I was thinking today, got the news, the returning James Conner. We're going to talk about it. Second season 2.0 for 2023 starts Sunday for the Redbirds. Is this the beginning of a new beginning, or is this the beginning of the end for some of these franchise icons, cornerstones? Because, it's like we've been a fixture with James Conner and Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown now for 2 years running. It feels like let's get some good stuff going, because we want to see these guys in the valley for 2023 and beyond.
It's the opposite ends of the spectrum, the way you kind of break it down, right? It's renewed season for a lot of these guys, and that was kind of the theme throughout the post-practice locker room today, from talking to Hollywood Brown to Michael Wilson to Trey McBride. And that's great, right? But then also there's this, I guess, how it becomes serious when you talk about an 8-game stretch that, all eyes from this organization, from the front office to the coaching staff, are going to be on these players and seeing who they're going to move forward with. And it becomes very serious, right? As far as jobs are going to be kept and jobs are going to be lost, maybe jobs are going to be won by some younger players on this team. But once you bring in guys like James Conner and Kyler Murray, some of your excuses go out the window, especially on the offensive side of the football, that if you don't perform, if you look similar, if the offensive, production or lack thereof is the status quo, then that's where people start to lose their jobs.
Yeah, and the returning James Conner puts a greater emphasis on Drew Petzing to be better. As you and others have reported, Bo, Cardinals announced today, James Conner's activated. He's back off of injured reserve. Not active yet. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's off of injured reserve. There's no guarantee he plays this weekend, although we feel pretty confident. Cardinals have been ramping him up. And it's certainly not a K1 situation where you got to stash him for 3 to 4 weeks to get him ready. It sounds like he's ready to rock and roll, barring something unforeseen, and they need him desperately. He was the MVP of this offense, with all due respect to Joshua Dobbs, for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. If you go back and read advanced metrics articles, he was in the conversation for one of the best running backs in the NFL. He was top 3 to 5 in broken tackles. And then you just watch it with the eye test. He was the focal point of this team. He was the catalyst for all of their, offensive success, especially against teams like Dallas, allowing them to churn the clock. So, I think it is, even with the injuries up front on the offensive line, we're going to talk about that. I think it is the biggest piece of ammunition you can give Kyler Murray. And he's not even in the passing game. With all due respect to Amari DiMercato and Keontae Ingram, Kyler Murray and the comfort level he's going to get with James Conner, it can't be emphasized enough.
What they asked of Amari DiMercato, as an undrafted rookie free agent who didn't even start at TCU the majority of his career, as he made his way as a JUCO player, great story, did a job, right? But as far as what James Conner does, he's a couple gears ahead of, he has a couple more gears than DiMercato. DiMercato tops out in 4th gear, where you can go 5th, 6th with a guy like James Conner. We've seen that. It was on full display. The guy, for God's sakes, after missing 4 games, still leads the Arizona Cardinals in rushing yards. Sure. And with Joshua Dobbs exiting, he leads them in touchdowns as well. So, he is a guy that, you're going to get more than, okay, on first down, we're going to try to establish the run. We're going to get chip away on 1st and 10 and try to get you at 2nd and 7 or 6 or 5 and 3rd and manageable. You got a guy that, as we saw in the chat, was right up there in the leaders in explosive runs in the NFL. He was playing at a high level, And if he comes back in any kind of shape or form of that, and I think he will, he looked pretty spry today. He looked very James Connery in practice right off the bat. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that is going to serve Kyler Murray so well, because what the Cardinals were doing, even with Joshua Dobbs, and set himself up for success with, was the ability to cause conflict with the defense and with the threat of run, and then also the play action. They were one of the top play action teams in the league before James Conner went out, and then that threat went away. You couple that with Kyler Murray's arm talent and ability to throw the ball down the field, I mean, it can be lethal.
Yeah, and also look at like the team they're playing against. I'm sorry, the Minnesota Vikings. Cam Akers, I know, was injured in the process, but before that, they're running all over this Atlanta Falcons defense that had been feasting on poor quarterback play. Joshua Dobbs had open running lanes the entire game. I mean, their pass rush is non-existent, with all due respect to ex-Cardinal Calais Campbell. Like, the Cardinals ought to be able to line up an I formation and ram James Conner for 4 or 5 yards per carry in this game. And that merges now, like the play action for the Cardinals against the Cleveland Browns, it was laughable. And frankly, laughable for Drew Petzing to continue to go back to that. Well, hey, Drew, no one's biting that you're going to run Keontae Ingram, and people are teeing off. Myles Garrett and company are teeing off on poor Clayton Tune. Like, you have the reemergence of the play action passing game, which was very relevant and efficient in the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. And that's James Conner. I just, again, like I want to go back to my original point, because it is like, I'm not going to take this Sunday for granted, assuming everybody plays, and we think they will. Like, the minute James Conner got to Arizona, it upped Kyler Murray's efficiency as a quarterback. And I've always been of the mindset, the best version of Kyler Murray is one that you can put with a back like this, a big, hulking, bulldozing back that can help, convert in short yardage. Kyler Murray had his best season when James Conner arrived in Arizona. Like, I know the year before he had a little bit more of a balanced season. The Cardinals went 8-8, and you had Kenyon Drake, who was still efficient, but like, Kyler Murray, I think, because of the limitations with his size, and you and I disagree, I don't think the Cardinals want any part of the tush push with Kyler Murray and sneaking under center. Like, I'm still not about that life with my 5'10".
I asked Petzing. He said he's good with it. I asked Petzing point blank. Like,
first of all, don't believe anything the Cardinals say right now at these press conferences, because I love the Cardinals. I just, they're playing coy, they're playing mouse.
You'll hear from the players. I think you can take the players at face it. The players give you so much more than the coaching staff. My God, it is stark difference. Like, there's one thing, like, where you sit there and there's a press conference with a coach, and you're just like, okay, all right, whatever you say, JG, whatever you say, Petzing and Rollis. And then there's, hey, go into the locker room, and everybody's just shooting from the hip, cavalier with all their answers. And you'll hear from Hollywood and Trey McBride, who I'm sure, I don't know if JG ever catches wind of what they told us today, he'll probably just scold them in the team meeting tomorrow and Friday. But yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
No, I mean, it comes down to the fact that, like, I think Kyler Murray is his most efficient self when he's given, obviously, time to throw the football and then an ability to have a short yardage back. And James Conner does more than that. He's certainly a terrific pass catcher and pass protector. I just feel like remember the red zone efficiency early this year with James Conner? Remember how great it was in 2021 with James Conner? I mean, it opens things up for Kyler Murray with the play action, with him booting, with him having an option to run or pass. So, I mean, like, this is the blueprint now, the template. Like, you have your pieces, your chess pieces in place to exploit some of these defenses over the course of these next 8 weeks. Like, save for really Pittsburgh and San Francisco, although with Steve Wilkes, they look a little fraudulent. Like, these defensive teams at the end of the season, like, there are points to be had, and the Cardinals better get them when they play Houston, when they play the Rams twice now, the second time. Seattle, I think, is very vulnerable. Chicago's a dumpster fire defensively. Atlanta could be the worst of the bunch this Sunday. Like, everybody should get theirs over these next 8 games, and it should provide further clarity for what this team wants to do and not offensively in 2024. And on the flip side, if they don't produce and old players look old and people go down, all these guys are expensive next year. Hollywood Brown, Kyler Murray, James Conner, and to be able to write that price tag and write those checks, you got to produce, and it starts this weekend. So it gives a greater sense of urgency, and I'm here for that. Like, last Sunday, we punted on urgency as Cardinal fans. That was a bona fide preseason game. It's like, well, if you guys aren't invested in winning this game, like, why should we be invested, right?
Right.
I don't want to watch Clayton Tune get his brains beaten for 4 quarters. Now there's a renewed sense of urgency. Put the record away, and it starts on Sunday.
Yeah, it does. And it's really one of those things that when people were clamoring for Kyler Murray, I completely get that. It kind of got slept on that James Conner was eligible to return as early as this week and designated a return on Wednesday. And it's one of those things like Jalen Thompson, I said it with him, I said it with Budda Baker, and we've seen a couple of these injuries before that they've tried to like weaponize on the injury report and utilize to their advantage. But I don't think that James Conner, and talking to JG today, he says, we'll see, we're going to get back on the practice field, and those stock answers that we're getting used to hearing. James Conner's playing. I mean, James Conner is going to play on Sunday, barring any setbacks in practice or anything new that arises in practice. And that's exciting. And, what he does elevates Kyler Murray's game, to your point, and then Kyler Murray elevates Hollywood Brown's game. He elevates Michael Wilson's game, who looks like he's poised to return. Look like they're being extra, cautious with him and his shoulder injury. And he said that, his shoulders responded a lot better than he expected. And he was out there on the practice field today. And with that play action, what's that going to do for Trey McBride? Yeah. I mean, to go from if the defense reads run and it's a play action pass, usually guys like Trey McBride or Rondell Moore are wide open in the middle of the field. And Kyler Murray's ability and arm talent to get them the ball, it just is all like it all trickles down, and it should just be a way better product offensively. And we saw a decent product for like a stretch, but not with the upside, I think, that it presents with 2 just playmaking players returning your lineup. Not 1, but 2 playmaking players in Kyler Murray and James Conner.
I mean, 2 of your best players, 2 of your top 5 best players on the team. I mean, we joke about it. The Cardinals basically started this year after Budda Baker got hurt without their 2 best players. They cut their 3rd best player at the end of the spring in DeAndre Hopkins. Then James Conner goes down. I mean, like, the Cardinals were already behind the 8 ball, and then you just strip them of the little talent, proven talent that they had. It'd be tough. I love this comment here from Jessica, basically saying, like, JG is the king of we'll see. And, like, it doesn't bother me, and I'm sure it doesn't bother a large majority of you, but there is kind of that narrative with the head coach right now. And what kind of we're alluding to is you're not getting a whole lot of transparency from Jonathan Gannon these days at his press conference, right? And I can tell it's weighing on some folks in a fan base right now that's I would say a little bit irritated. 1-8, waiting for players to return, waiting to invest. Who's part of the future? Like, do you think it's a problem the way the Cardinals are kind of conducting themselves for quote unquote a competitive advantage, or is it naive to say, hey, this team that's 1-8, you don't get to kind of screw around like that at press conferences. Like, we know what you are and what you aren't.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be followed up with winning. They're not set up to be successful right now. I think that they have the ability, obviously, to win some games here down the stretch. And I've maintained this even with the previous staff or any staff in any sport that exists right now and in the future. Is like, if you're going to go against the grain, if you're going to utilize anything, especially that's supposed to become public knowledge to help a fan base just know information, and you utilize it for the sake of competitive advantage, you better be competitive each and every week. And like, I can absolutely see it through the eyes and the ears of people that are already kind of like rolling their eyes at it. It's Robert Downey Jr. eye roll gif. And I completely understand that, because it does align, and it's one of the few things that aligns with the previous coaching staff, how the previous team regime did it. I think Kyle Odegaard made a great point, and I forgot about it, but when he was covering the team, and Kyle still does cover the team for Compare Bet, is how refreshing it was when Bruce Arians would be as transparent as possible with the status of injured players. And then he would poke fun at teams that they beat for trying to use that as kind of a cloak and competitive advantage. And it's just like, I miss those days, but I don't think we'll ever get back to that with Jonathan Gannon. But I think at some point he'll realize, and he's open-minded to it. Like, he was very open-minded going into how he was going to get a cadence with the media and with the fan base. And at this point, like, you're not going to be able to change him right now. Like, he's in the thick of this season. But I think at the end of the season, going into his next season, I think he'll be open-minded to an extent to providing at least information of some sort instead of just saying, because it happened. It was like 3 consecutive questions basically answered with "we'll see."
Yeah, that's not what you want to see.
No,
We'll see something else hopefully in the future from JG. We got a super chat here, a friend of the program. Appreciate your support, brother. AZ fan 1998, $2. K1 Connor will get us our second win. Time to streak. I happen to agree with you. I think so many good vibes with this team, despite what has gone on these last
Frank
9
the
weeks.
Tank. We're going streaking.
That's
through
right.
The quad.
We're gonna. I mean, listen, crazier things have happened. I think there is a general consensus right now that there are some teams that are headed toward the first overall pick, and that the Cardinals have enough positives that they're not going to be one of those teams. Like, the Giants are down to their 3rd string quarterback. The Patriots are just a disaster, right? Hell, I think the Rams could go south really quick. I honestly do believe, like, if these players stay healthy, and that's the biggest thing, especially with James Conner, and we look back over these next 8 games, and you get all 8 games from Hollywood, K1, James Conner, and of course, Trey McBride, you're going to be able to put together a couple W's here, and you're going to feel really good about the trajectory of this team. Now, anything can happen, and people can go down, and that's the unfortunate part of football. But I do like that the Cardinals do one of 2 things. They play rookies, and they play rookies at premium positions. Never have we questioned Paris Johnson Jr. at right tackle, Michael Wilson at wide receiver. Garrett Williams hasn't missed a beat since he's entered the lineup. B.J. Ojolari was in there for the first series last week. But then also, it's like, these guys that are making a premium, we're going to play them too. And hopefully they're part of our future. We're not going to sit them. If they can perform, they're going to be out there. But I mean, it's a 2-month trial basis for a lot of these guys. We need to be able to see definitive clarity. And that was what the last regime, if anything, they were horrific in so many areas, developing, drafting. But we would exit seasons in January, February. Like, I remember, not to get off topic, Michael Bidwell did like a end of the year, like, kind of press release dialogue video on the team's website. And he called Isaiah Simmons and Byron Murphy stars. And it was after Simmons' first year and Byron Murphy's second year. I'm like, how can you say these players are I don't know anything about them. They barely ever play. Byron played less his second year, and Isaiah Simmons barely played at all his first year. And they were calling them stars because you had to sell something. We need to know.
Well, and also he had his buddy Steve Keim telling him, like, "Oh, these guys are stars."
But his head coach wasn't playing him. Vance Joseph, his defensive coordinator, wasn't playing him. Everybody is on the same page with this. And that, despite what we're not getting in press conferences, we should feel good about that as Cardinal fans, because there's a clear direction. And the direction right now is, let's compete.
Yeah. Yeah. It's let's compete and build for the future at the same time. It's a fine line. And obviously it doesn't work out all the time. But when you have the luxury of that and playing young players and letting them fail on the field and learning from their mistakes and developing, that's the key word, developing, because there wasn't, and, JG's maintained this, before the season, that this is going to be a team that's going to be a draft and develop team. And in order to do that, you got to let your players go out there and fail. And that's so important. And I think that's going to pay off, immensely for this organization going forward. I know people haven't seen the productivity. They haven't seen him flash enough for B.J. Ojolari, but he's getting the snaps, and it's something hopefully by, going into the offseason and having a full NFL offseason, OTAs and training camp to get himself ready, that by year 2, this is a guy that can be somebody that can make an impact on a down-to-down basis. Same thing goes for like Garrett Williams, who's been fantastic since his return in his 3 games. Michael Wilson gets back on track. He talked about, JG did give us a little info on John Gaines and some injured players. Those are guys that are in the building working every day to get back. So it does give you excitement, like, even though the wins aren't there this season, that they're building something, and it's not so much that this is just a complete lost season, that is the result of a massive rebuild.
We're going to talk more about this game. Practice reports. Where are DJ Humphries, Will Hernandez? That's coming up. But right now, if you're not on BetMGM, what are you waiting for? The BetMGM Sportsbook app, premium sportsbook app, Visit betmgm.com, dabble on your desktop computer, or visit them iOS or Android mobile device. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to pull up because I've been looking at this line all day. Bo, you want to take a guess what Cardinals hosting the Atlanta Falcons is down to with our friends at BetMGM, the line specifically?
I believe it's a 1-point favorite for the Falcons.
Okay, you're going to book it in at 1. I'm going to say 1.5. So it is back up to 1.5 right now. The only reason that I said that is I did see that Drake London, who was out last week, is back practicing. So maybe that factored in. The over-under really tempting right now with BetMGM 44. I think Cardinals are going to score over 20 points, and depending on if Atlanta can get theirs, they put up points last week. It's going to be a great place to wager on this game, regardless, with our friends at BetMGM. Can this game get down to a pick'em? Well, in the meantime, while you're checking that out, check out the promo code PHNX. Input that promo code for new customers at BetMGM. Super easy. Download the app now. Place them your $10 bet. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of your wager, of the outcome of your wager. So if you put it on the Cardinals to win, if they lose, you still get those $200. If they win, you get your winnings plus those $200. So what can be better than that? Check them out right now, betmgm.com. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy, Shane Diefenbach, talk about it in the disclaimer.
Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
$11 gets you in the Kyler Murray's debut on Sunday. If you check out the Game Time app, you want to go check out maybe Arizona State hoops. You want to check out Phoenix Suns basketball. You want to check out maybe some GCU hoops. You want to see the Arizona tip-off in a month. It's going to have some big-time college hoops programs here in downtown Phoenix. Yeah, you don't want to miss out on that. You don't want to miss out on anything. And Game Time is going to put you right there at any game, concert that you're going to want to see. Just check it out. Do this for me. Check out and download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. So if you buy 2 tickets to the Arizona Cardinals game for $11 a piece, it's $22. Of course, you're going to have a few fees on there, but then you use that promo code PHNX, and you're almost going to the game for free. You can also use Game Time to get your parking pass as well. I bought a parking pass as low as $2 to a Cardinals game. It saves you a ton of cash. You can do it all with the Game Time app. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Our DJ Humphries, Will Hernandez is going to be a Game Time decision ahead of Sunday's contest, Bo. What can you tell us? Cardinals are getting healthy in certain areas, but now maybe lacking up front on the offensive line.
Yeah, Will Hernandez did not participate in practice. He was a DMP. So was DJ Humphries, but we at least saw Will Hernandez working out on the side. That's the extent I can tell you. Did not see DJ Humphries. I am concerned that DJ Humphries is going to miss significant amount of time. Wouldn't be shocked, and I have no true insight. This is just all speculation that he would be a candidate for IR, and so that kind of really makes things interesting for this Cardinals team. DJ Humphries working through an ankle injury, and then what Will Hernandez is dealing with was a knee. So, and we'll see if he even gets out to the practice field at all this week. But it really feels like, best case scenario, DJ Humphries is just out this week. I would be shocked to see him in the lineup in Week 10 against the Falcons.
So Kelvin Beachum is obviously the obvious choice to play left tackle this week. I don't think they're going to try our Paris Johnson Jr. recommendation, at least this year. It feels like that maybe that's an offseason hurdle that they try to tackle if they kick over Paris if DJ is not back. So you've got now Kelvin Beachum, the veteran at left tackle. What's the plan then at right guard, assuming Will Hernandez can't go? Because then it becomes you turn your best offensive lineman, your best strength at right guard into maybe a little bit of a turnstile. What's the plan right there?
Yeah, you have to see, Tristan Colon was out again. And, is he somebody that can kind of kick around? If he gets back out there on the practice field later this week, he's still dealing with a calf. Probably not an option. Dennis Daly probably remains at left guard. And then you start looking at some of these guys like that they just claimed off waivers from the Browns and Doug Kramer Jr. I'm sorry, the Bears. He came over from Chicago. And then you start looking at, I mean, the guard spot, you probably have to elevate, Marquise Hayes. Just give yourself some depth. But it is a scarce, scary position for this Arizona Cardinals team that has been a strength. Like the right side of that offensive line has been a strength with Paris Johnson Jr. and Will Hernandez. They've just been, set it and forget it. And you can't say that this much this week. It's curious with the Calvin Beachum. Is he going to be your guy that just fills in for DJ Humphries? Because we saw Carter O'Donnell actually come in and play that left tackle spot in place of DJ last week. It wasn't really Calvin Beachum. So, Beach played 9 snaps and Carter O'Donnell played 17 snaps. So I don't know which way they're going. If they want Beach to be more of a guy that backs up and is on the right side, it's something certainly that we'll ask about going forward. I know Howard Baltzer's been all over this offensive line and the injuries in the press conference. But as we pointed out, the previous topic with being tight-lipped in press conferences, it's tough to kind of get any information really on these injured players.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate the week that you need your offensive line to be at their best with Kyler Murray returning. It looks like it could be their most compromised week to date. Now, Will Hernandez did miss time, I want to say like a month ago during practice. Remember that like he missed most of practice that week, ended up playing. I can't remember who the opponent was.
He had a back.
Yeah. And his back was dinged up a little bit. He's a tough SOB, man. Like I wouldn't put it past Will Hernandez. Like if he's at least out there in some capacity, if he's limited tomorrow, I would take that as a really positive sign. He's one of the biggest war daddy gamers that the Cardinals have on their roster. He's the dark, you want to take him with you down a dark alley to protect your ass if you're Kyler Murray and company. So I'm hopeful, but that's an interesting nugget on the tackle, man. I mean, it just shows you that this team, they want to rebuild. They will rebuild the offensive line. It's going to take time. I think Yelda Froholt is somebody that obviously on a 2-year deal. I think he's an easy plug and play back for 2024, assuming you can't get a significant upgrade. Obviously, we like what we've seen from Paris. Will Hernandez is under contract, but man, that left side of the offensive line needs a makeover, like significant makeover, more athletic, younger. And I think, maybe they dabble in free agency, but there are too many premium tackles at the top of the draft, assuming they can be in a position to nab one and not take a quarterback or a wide receiver. I think, we got to duct tape this bad boy and do our best over these next 2 months because it's going to look dramatically different next year.
I mean, you see this kid at Kansas State, Cooper Beebe, is just an absolute beast, just bulldozing kids in the Big 12, which is great. Could they get him with one of their 6 top 3 round picks?
Yeah.
Along with like a Joe Alt. And hey, there you go. You just got three fixtures, and then you got the versatility of Jonathan Gaines. Like, could he kick in and play center like he was before his injury? So they're in a really advantageous situation draft capital wise to bolster it, but trying to get there between now and then in the final 8 games of the season. I know you got a bye week mixed in there that helps, but it was like that was the one thing that you could take away from Sunday that transcended the ass kicking that you took on the field was the injuries, especially to the offensive line. It's like, oh, well, this will kind of the stench will creep into week 10 in the debut of Kyler Murray because it was such a consistent and there was a ton of continuity across that offensive line outside of the left guard spot all season long. And now you can't say the same for that going into week 10.
Donnell in the chat, put Paris at left tackle where he wants to be. I think a lot of it just kind of depends on who they're able to secure. I mean, if you're looking at what the Detroit Lions have done, Taylor Decker came in, was their left tackle. Penei Sewell was a left tackle during his time at Oregon and was a better prospect, frankly. And they said, no, you're just going to play right tackle for us.
Yeah.
And if Joe Alt is an Arizona Cardinal and Joe Alt's been playing left tackle and Paris Johnson Jr. just played 17 weeks at right tackle in the NFL, seems like a pretty easy situation to kind of remedy. It's a problem or a conversation. Well, we can have a conversation now, but it's a problem they're going to have to address down the line. But
he's 20 years old. He's 6'8". He's just a mammoth of a young man. I mean, it gets
really feels like he's got a date with Arizona if they don't take Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, he's so flipping good. Like I make a point. I don't love Notre Dame football. I make a point to watch them every week because of how supremely gifted he is. He's exactly what the Cardinals need. And DJ Humphries, he rebounded from 2015. I thought he was a massive bust, had a really nice resurgence the second half of his career, got a second contract, did some good things with Cliff Kingsbury, but I mean, it's like the game is one up front. And DJ Humphries has been a little bit of a liability. Let's just call him that, especially against really gifted pass rushers. The Cardinals desperately need to be younger and more athletic on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Wouldn't they also give you that? You remember like playing youth sports growing up, whether it was baseball, basketball, PV football, and the other team would come out and they just had these corn-fed just monsters of players. And like the Cardinals would have that. Like you would have these like Joe Alt, Paris Johnson come out of the tunnel, and the other team would be like, "Holy shit! Look at these guys. They just look like the Monstars as far as just the athletes that they would put out and deploy on the offensive line. I mean, just monsters."
It's about the mindset where this franchise wants to go. And I think at every position, minus quarterback, like Kyler Murray works, you keep Kyler Murray, regardless of his stature and his size. Well, look what they've done at wide receiver. Michael Wilson, right? Trey McBride, obviously he's getting ample targets now. He's a big physical player. James Conner, but I think they want a big back. And then obviously, they took a big corner. They took a big outside linebacker. I mean, they want to become a physically imposing team because that's, at the end of the day, you need high-end quarterback play. But the NFC West, man, it's about hitting people in the mouth. You've got three coaches that all pride themselves in their heyday on physicality, physical football. And you can't, and that was the antithesis of what Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim were doing. They were doing tweener off-ball linebackers and undersized wide receivers. So it's a big reason why the Cardinals couldn't man up and play big boy football in December and January when these other teams are hitting their stride. The Cardinals have peaked in October because they were a finesse team. They need to get away from playing finesse football. And again, I think they've done a really nice job here. It's a true pleasure when they do have success this year running the football. And I hope the run game is still a big part of what they do now with Kyler Murray in the fold.
Yeah. And Connor's going to help with that no matter what the offensive line looks like. He even showed when the offensive line was humming that if they didn't win their one-on-one and you had a defender in the backfield, that Connor was equipped to make a play. And you can't say that for the previous couple weeks, the last 4 weeks without James Conner, whether it was Ingram or DeMarcado or Tony Jones Jr. The playmaking just wasn't there. The ability to make a play when it's blown up. That's what Kyler and James Conner, hopefully they don't have to do it too much. Calais Campbell gets through unscathed, that would be a disaster. But you do have the ability to still make a play.
We're going to talk a little K1. K1 was supposed to talk to the media. He didn't, but you got plenty to say on the franchise quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. But you know who else has something to say about AZ? Desert Financial, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals. Again, I know I've shared this story before. Like, we moved to Arizona 2.5 years ago. I was still banking, back out east, and it's a pain in the butt to change banks, to go to a new credit union. Not with Desert Financial. It is the most seamless, easiest, most convenient credit union I have ever used. I'm talking like minimal fees, supreme customer service. They've got savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investments. It's a true one-stop shop that's going to help you and your family invest and get you your money when you need it. And if you're an Arizona sports fan, there's no better place than to do your banking than with Desert Financial Credit Union. You can show your team spirit. They've got an exclusive Arizona Cardinal debit card, which may or may not be the one I chose, between us. Represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinals Visa debit card. Show your team spirit. Open a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit. Go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. And when I say open it online, like, it takes what? Like 15, 20 minutes. They send you your card. You're good to go. I mean, like, if you're looking to save time and get your money now, do it with Desert Financial.
I mean, talk about ad reads that fit the individual host. Johnny's telling you about Desert Financial and banking and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you about Wink and Countdown. How about your seltzer with some
I like
THC.
Wink. I'll dabble with Wink.
Absolutely. All the money you get from Desert Financial, you make that withdrawal or you use your Money Cardinals debit card, and you're going and you're going to check yourself out in the botanical dispensaries, in the Sunday Good dispensaries, because you're going to buy yourself some Wink and some Countdown. We're all in on the seltzers. I think everybody, if you open up your fridge, you got Four Peaks, and then you got the seltzers there as well. This is a little different twist. If you're not in on the alcohol and you more dabble with cannabis, THC, whatever it may be, Wink is your seltzer with THC. It's that laid back friend that keeps that party from going off the rails. They're not the crazy people hanging off your fridge door and breaking it. They're chilling. They're watching the movies. They're having a good time. Countdown's the sister product. Get ready for liftoff with that. So whatever experience you're looking for, Wink and Countdown, they've got it for you. They're available in 2.5 milligrams and 5 milligram cans. You can find Wink right here in Arizona. Look for Wink at Sunday Goods dispensaries in the Valley, Botanica dispensary in Tucson. You can also save money online by going to DrinkWink, DRINKWYNK.com. Use that promo code PHNX. You get 20% off. That's the promo code PHNX for 20% off at DrinkWink.com.
So fans of the Cardinals, and us who covered the team, like we were told today Kyler Murray was going to talk to the media. Like, you were in person, K1 press conference. Newsflash, spoiler, it did not happen.
I can shed some light on this.
Okay? Yeah, I was just about to say, can you give us some context?
So every week, Cardinals give us, what the practice times are, who's going to be available at press conferences, and every Wednesday, at least for the first 8 weeks, it was Joshua Dobbs, right? Yeah. He was going to talk on Wednesday. That's the slot for the starting quarterback to talk each and every week for the Cardinals. The Cardinals haven't officially named starting quarterback. Worst kept secret in the league, I know that, but they haven't named anybody. Kyler Murray on the Cardinals depth chart, QB1, Clayton Tune, QB2. Tune started on Sunday, so they're using this cloak once again. But we were told by Cardinals media relations, whatever, that there was a chance that Kyler could talk, right? They never said Kyler was going to talk. And then, I believe their own behind the scenes, like, media team was just prepared for it. They'd set up, like we do on daily shows, like they had a YouTube channel for it. And they had it, I believe, on their social media, on Twitter, that he was going to have a press conference. And then they move, like, usually it's right after practice. You talk to the quarterback, you go into the locker room for the remaining allotted time that you can talk to players. We got a full 45 minutes in the locker room with the players and getting to interview them, from Hollywood Brown to Trey McBride to, Michael Wilson. And, Kyler Murray is a busy man this week, and it just never came to fruition. It just never happened, unfortunately. Hopefully the next 2 days of practice between Thursday and Friday, we'll get to hear from Kyler Murray. But it just never happened. And unfortunately, just jumped the gun a little bit. And I feel for those people who were sitting in that, YouTube chat or,
40 minutes somebody
on
said
social
on Twitter
media.
today.
Yeah.
They were waiting.
It sucks.
I saw somebody, I don't know if it was our chat or somewhere on Twitter, saying this is a competitive disadvantage to your fan base by doing this every week. And it's just, come on. As Jessica says,
I think it does a disservice a bit to the quarterback. Like, somebody in this, take it with a grain of salt. And I want you to take it with a grain of salt. But the national and public perception about Kyler Murray, and then, somebody says, okay, and it looks official to everybody, even though, that he's going to talk and he doesn't talk, it doesn't help him out in any way.
No. And, like, I believe everything that has been said about him is true. He's working his butt off. He's ingratiated himself, poised to be this team's quarterback this year and beyond. Showcase that. Kyler Murray's not opposed to talking, but I think the last time he spoke was when I was with you in the preseason at training camp. I don't think we've heard from him in a press conference style. It's been like 3 months. And I know it hasn't been appropriate, but, like, they didn't make him available when he came, and with a practice window, activated off PUP. And I hope that they opt to do so before Sunday. But I mean, like, are you really going to have his first time meeting with the media post game on Sunday, especially if they take an L? Like, that's not a great look either. Like, let's have an opportunity to chat with Kyler Murray. Let's get him back in front of these fans. Let's name him the starter. And then let's let Sunday play out. Let's
Right.
not have all these kind of contingencies and things hanging over his head. It's like, oh God, I haven't seen these people in, 4 months. I got to go talk to the media. You want it to be as seamless as it used to be. And it just feels like indirectly or directly, they're making kind of everything more difficult than it needs to be. Like, none of this should be, as people are pointing out in the chat, everyone knows he's playing because the alternative is a literal disaster dumpster fire. And we saw it last weekend. You can't put your fan base through that. You can't put those 52 men that ride or die with K1 through that. You'll be on the verge of losing the locker room. So, I mean, like, they've done a nice job being transparent up until this point with the fan base, in the offseason, talking about their plan. We chatted with Monty Osford and JG at the combine. They were incredibly upfront about what they were going to do. They didn't know if they were going to keep Hopkins. They got rid of him, right? So now it's just like, this is a smart fan base that deserves full transparency as it relates to the most important position that people are invested in. If you know what you're doing, and the Atlanta Falcons know what you're doing, let's not go through the motions here. Let's go through let's get back to normalcy, because we have not had normalcy as a franchise for about 18 months. Can we have our shit together, please? And not make news with no news?
Well, what it feels like, and it might be a poor analogy, is like you had a partner that was unfaithful, right?
Sure.
And you know what the signs look like. As good as your new partner is, and you're seeing like, oh, there's a red flag. That looks similar. Yeah. And it's like they're giving you reasons to doubt all the good stuff and all the goodwill that they've garnered over the last since Monty took the job, since JG took the job, and since Kyler Murray's been on the path to rehab. He's done everything right and then some. I mean, Jonathan Gannon said it's exceeded his expectations. So it's like this new K1, people just want to see it. They just want to hear from him, right? And it's I don't put any of the him not talking today on Kyler Murray. I'm sure Kyler Murray.
No.
I mean, Hollywood Brown, and we'll play what Hollywood Brown had said in a few minutes here, and what Trey McBride said too. But Hollywood Brown basically was like, he asked Kyler Murray a couple weeks ago, "Is like, dude, you ever take a day off? Like, his rehab has been so intense." And Zach Allen talked about this when he had his own injury. Like, and I know it's a weird combo and comp, but like Zach Allen had the ankle injury, had surgery in the offseason, and he was working 10-hour days. I don't doubt that that's the type of schedule that Kyler Murray's been on for the bulk of this rehab. So in this last push to get him ready for his debut, I'm sure his calendar is booked, but it also takes different parts of this organization to make sure that people aren't waiting around for a starting quarterback that's not going to get to the podium.
And it's even more ridiculous when you see my co-host posting highlights on Twitter of Kyler Murray shredding at practice today. I believe we have those highlights today for the show. But we don't know if he's starting. You guys judge for yourself if Kyler Murray's going to start this week.
Yeah, it looks like Darren Mercado is there in the background. There was a ton of guys working out on the side, but yeah, Kyler's just kind of it's your 90 seconds daily dose of Kyler. You'll get this every day this week as we gear you up for the Atlanta Falcons. But yeah, worst kept secret in the NFL that Kyler Murray is going to be back in at quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And like I said, Marquise Hollywood Brown will give you more insight on that. Here's him throwing to Michael Wilson. We haven't seen too much of that yet. So he's finally on the north side of the field where this active players, the wide receivers and tight ends, there's James Conner making a catch there. So James Conner looking every bit as much as he did before the injury. Nice little tight spiral to Trey McBride. Got Trey McBride. This is a beautiful pass down the field to McBride. Just catches him in stride. This is him under center. You got McBride coming off the line of scrimmage. A lot of Team McBride in this, Johnny. I teed this up for you so you could just watch Trey Day all day.
Okay, yeah, he's a good player. I've heard of him.
And some more Michael Wilson. I mean, this was just this. Did I just make this specifically for my co-host just to fuel his bromances?
Their best players are being thrown to by their franchise quarterback now. You absolutely love to see it. It's what I was talking about earlier. Play the best players. Trey McBride's your best tight end, and Michael Wilson should be starting. Those are things I said back in June, but we'll just dismiss
there's that. Clayton Tune just shadowing like what he would be doing if he was playing. But no, hey, Clayton, we're getting K1 ready. You might, we're not going to name him starter, but so Clayton, just keep on shadow boxing or whatever the heck you're doing those.
Here's what I hope it is. I hope it's just experience or lack thereof from the new regime. Like, we went through this once before. We're gonna pivot how we do things moving forward. Because like this ain't it. I'm sorry. Like don't give people a reason to throw shade at this franchise when you've got articles coming out from the ESPN and the Athletic talking about things that are really unfortunate with like toxic workplace and the weight rooms got floorboards cracking up. Like, can somebody just be transparent and be excited for this fan base that Kyler Murray's playing this week?
Well,
like,
and also
we'll carry the water every day because we know it's happening. Can God forbid the team also do that?
I had reached the point of YouTube viewing last night. I texted you about this where forgot for whatever fucking reason. I've turned on a Florio clip and it's him talking about Kyler Murray. My eyes, God, take my eyes, please, in my ears when Florio is talking about this team, because he's like, it makes sense from a business decision that the Arizona Cardinals wouldn't play Kyler Murray. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? As soon as I'm hoping that as soon as people see him play, you realize why the Cardinals were always anticipated deploying him and putting him out there and weren't going to hesitate to play him because the fear of a football player getting injured. Like, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. He also said, by the way, and this made me almost upchuck and it made me text you, was Clayton Tune had 58 total yards on Sunday. He's like, I don't think Kyler could have done much better. It's like,
oh my God.
Full stop, Florio. You have just, even for you, that is low and discredits everything you've said before and after this. But all right. So talk about worst kept secret ever. Talking to Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown was great. Check out our social at PHNX_Cardinals.
Was always great.
Yeah. And check out my stuff at Bo Brock. Hollywood Brown asked about by Howard Balzer is, you expect Kyler Murray to be in there on Sunday?
I don't think there's no doubt in my mind. I think he's going to play.
I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he's going to play. And we got to do this. We have to do it for, was it a third consecutive week, this dog and pony show?
Does Gannon talk tomorrow?
No. Tomorrow is like Buda Baker and locker room. Gannon talks on Friday morning.
So Friday, he's going to announce Kyler's going to start. Do you think there's a possibility he could say
Hollywood just did? Hollywood. I mean,
do you think it's a possibility Gannon could wait until Sunday and do the rope-a-dope, Clayton Tune or Kyler Murray?
No.
Because so it's going to be Friday. He'll announce it officially.
I don't know. I mean, I think Friday, because
we had to get through practice. We had to wait to see how practice goes.
And he talks before the last practice.
Oh my God, the walkthrough practice. Basically, practice.
Yeah, he's like, it's looking that way. He could potentially give it it's looking that way. I hope you're right. I hope he comes out Friday and he just points to the camera.
Gannon, I'm a big fan of you. Back. Help yourself Friday. Can we cut the shit, man? Don't linger this on. This is embarrassing. Everybody collectively wants to move on and focus on what matters, and that's beating the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. No one is believing that you're going to play Clayton Tune, and if you did, then everybody should be fired. If Clayton Tune runs out of the tunnel as the starter at State Farm Stadium, immediately turn around, get your money back for your tickets. We'll probably immediately go live, and everybody should be fired because that's a joke. Can we not do that, please?
It's not. Yeah, because that is the most far-fetched thing.
It would never happen. Right, it's not happening. Yet your quarterback that you were going to play instead of Kyler Murray is in Minnesota right now. He's starting for the Vikings. He's not a part. Whatever we saw was an albatross last week. It was an abomination, and it was a handing of the baton. Hey, can you get us through 4 quarters? That's over. Be transparent with your peeps now. Come on.
I mean, Junior's saying like Gannon's going to punch Hollywood for that. I think the players can now gang up on Gannon and say, "Hey, what are we doing?"
Players should be like,
"What are we doing?" Because
what are we doing here?
Not only that, like let's play the clip from Trey McBride, and you can decide for yourself. I mean, Trey McBride also is pretty much talking about the quarterback position and who's expected to play the position come Sunday, and then some for another player that was designated to return today. Here's McBride.
Kyler coming back is a huge asset for our team. You got James coming back as well. It just kind of feels like rejuvenated, rejuiced, and obviously, going in to win this game and have those 2 guys back would be a huge key to this offense.
There are going to be people like in the media, in the fan base, rightfully say like Gannon doesn't know anybody anything. And
Sure.
that's fine.
And I agree with that to an extent.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Because all that matters is the byproduct of what goes on this weekend. But when you lose like this franchise has done this year, and then before Gannon and Austin Ford got here, you have to be able to read the room a little bit. Like there's you know what this quality, I always talk to my kids about this. It's called like with itness. Are you with it? Can you take the temperature of the room? Like if I'm having a conversation with my because if I'm having a conversation with my wife, or if I'm on the phone with somebody and my son comes up and just gets in my face and yells something about, the YouTube TV not working, I say, Hudson, just read the room, buddy. And we talk about with itness. Jonathan Gannon and company.
Are you with it? Are you with it?
Yeah. I try not to be an asshole about it. It's just like, let's read the room here, buddy. Jonathan Gannon and company need to read the room with this fragile fan base right now. I'm begging them, please, can we just cut the shit and move on? Everybody knows what's happening. Last week was an embarrassment. They embarrassed themselves on Sunday. And I think this coaching staff is going to be fabulous long term. I'm so excited with what we've seen. Sunday would like legitimately burn the tape. Gannon should have gone to the press conference Sunday afternoon and said the plan is to start Kyler Murray next week. He wasn't quite ready to play today. We're fired up. Clayton did some good things. We didn't help him enough today. We're fired up about Kyler playing next week. At the very least, you say all those things on Monday. And it's just, man,
I agree.
It's really unfortunate because I don't want to be talking about this.
There are 250 people in this chat right now, and they all know the plan. I don't doubt. And you give yourself a like on this video to basically pat yourself on the back. Like I'm a very informed fan. I understand that, but it's crazy. Thank you, Buddha. Drop a like. It's crazy that there is parts of this fan base that will watch those press conferences and just kind of look at the Cardinals from a peripheral and take what is said in press conference by the head coach of this team at face value. And there are people that base their decision on going to the game or not going to the game. And you are losing out on an ability to get people who are Cardinals fans that maybe haven't been there all season long, that if you told them Kyler Murray was starting at quarterback on Sunday definitively, they're buying tickets to the game time, wherever, and getting into the stadium. And I think they're missing out on that.
And it's the same argument. I know you disagree with this, that I think that they tried to hedge with Murray potentially returning sooner than he was ever going to come back in an attempt to get people excited about him playing. And this franchise has come a long way. We're seeing some shortcomings with this franchise that they need to clean up. Nothing that they can't remedy, but do better in certain areas. We're asking you to do better. We want you to do better. Somebody that's going to be able to help you all do better with regard to getting gas, saving on gas, premium gas, not a premium price, Bo Brock, 25 cents per gallon, your first 5 fill-ups with our friends at Circle K. Free membership program. They've got pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, filled up today. And then I drove down the street and I saw a competitor exponentially more expensive than my friends at Circle K. Join the inner circle right now. Download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
Yeah, you got to join the inner circle. It's a must. You get in and you get that 6-1 free. Johnny, he hits that 6-1 free by Wednesday of the week. He's always
free 99, baby.
That's right. He's always cashing in on a free app and getting free stuff by just becoming a member of the inner circle. You can join Johnny Venerable, myself as well. And also you could join by becoming a diehard today. Join us here at PHNX. And we saw it in the chat. Absolutely. PHNX listeners, viewers, consumers, they're the most just dialed in fan in the Valley. No doubt about it. You can become even more dialed in by getting access to our member Discord, chatting it up, talking Coyotes, talking Cardinals, talking Suns, talking D-backs. What are the D-backs doing in free agency? Bradley Beal's set to make his debut for the Suns. You will be on top of all the breaking news by becoming a Go PHNX diehard today. And also it's going to get you free swag like this hat, like that hat that Johnny has, a free shirt that you can also win in trivia today, but you can also just get one yourself for free by becoming a diehard today. Check out more info, gophnx.com. Also the phnxlocker.com for all that free gear and all that great fire gear.
We're fired up this weekend because we know Kyler Murray is playing. And if you're not going to be at State Farm Stadium, there's only one place to watch the game this weekend. It's with me, Britton Golden, Saul Bookman, Damon Dog, and the rest of the PHNX family at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. This weekend, come hang out, have an opportunity to win a couple signed pieces of memorabilia, including, I believe, a helmet bow and a football. This weekend, Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. I cannot wait. It is flipping fantastic. Arizona's largest casino sports book. They've got Top Golf. It's going to be a banner day. It's a celebratory day. And we're going to do it with our friends at Gila River, and we're going to do you one better. So we started our trivia yesterday, Bo Brock, with our friends at Gila River. So here's basically what we're doing right now. Visit them at Gila.com for more details on all the great stuff they've got going on. Here's what we got going on ahead of Sunday. So you can win a t-shirt to pick up this Sunday at Gila River by answering one of our 2 trivia questions correctly. Plus, when you show up to claim your t-shirt, hang out, you have an opportunity to win those Kyler Murray signed pieces of memorabilia. You can come out anyway. If you do not win a t-shirt today, we encourage you. I want to hang out. Let's party. Let's have a good time. Reintroducing Kyler Murray to the Valley, winning football, hopefully, to the Valley. But right now is your time, times 2. We did it yesterday. We're going to do it today. We'll do it one more on Friday's show. Here's an opportunity to win a piece of PHNX sports merch for free, a free t-shirt by answering one of 2 questions, Bo Brock, correctly.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's going to be this is a great opportunity to get some free swag from the PHNX locker. So you want me to just jump into it? So we'll do the same rules as yesterday, or you got anything better?
I thought about it. I slept on it, and your rule was sadly the best that we could come up with. I will say, if anybody knows Dirt Bike Boy, we haven't gotten his t-shirt size yet. Charles gave me his size. We're going to see Charles and some of his members, his family at the tailgate this weekend, Gila River watch party. So yeah, you win a t-shirt.
Boy, whoever you are, let us know and we'll get you your t-shirt. If you're just somebody who likes to jump in the trivia contest and dominate them, congratulations. You don't want the t-shirt, and we'll give it to somebody else. But
what if today, instead of typing in the PHNX, you mentioned this yesterday, Bo, we do PHNX, you type in PHNX and your answer. And then so the people that want to just get involved in the trivia but won't be able to make it to Gila River that want to answer, they can put their answers in, but they're not, signing up for
Can't they just say it out loud at their computer or at their smartphone?
Yeah.
Well, but
Damon, I love you, brother. I'm not sure I like that as much. I like this suspense of, okay, we pick a person, and then I will say, I'm going to have a timer on my phone. You have 10 seconds to respond with your answer.
Yeah. Be nicer to our guy, Damon Dog.
I said I really like
just
Damon.
completely crushed his idea.
I don't like that suggestion.
There's a little bit of a delay, so maybe 10 seconds is kind of unfair.
This is
okay.
Comments don't fly
Let's
in yet.
say 5 seconds. No, you want to do longer? Okay, 15 seconds.
Okay.
15 seconds from the moment we see you put in PHNX. These are tougher. Somebody blew me shit yesterday. Yeah, the questions were too easy. I don't know.
Who did that?
Google. Somebody said that to me, which is fine. I cranked it up to 11 today.
Okay.
Boys and girls in the chat, do your best. Question numero uno for my very best friend, Damon.
Johnny, Dirt Bike Boy said that he messaged you on Instagram, so you're gonna have to go to your
He said he messaged PHNX Cardinals too.
No,
Dirt Bike Boy, just tell us your size right now. Do you mind just telling us your size right now? We're gonna take care of you, Dirt Bike Boy.
Johnny on Instagram. Was it at Bronny Venerable on IG?
Is he a dirt bike boy? He needs a small, or is he a dirt bike man? And he needs a large.
All right, let's get into this. No further delay. All these shenanigans. Let's win some people some t-shirts here.
All right, this first question.
The first one, since you did the first one yesterday.
Yes, you read it for the folks at home.
Okay, these were conjured up by Johnny Venerable. He claims that they're super hard. So Google quickly. All right, Damon, are you ready? Okay, Dirt Bike Boy's an XL. He's a dirt bike big boy. Let's get trivia question numero uno. Who is the last day 3 draft pick of the Arizona Cardinals to make a Pro Bowl? Holy shit, Johnny.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Oh, I think I know who it is. Who is the last day 3 draft pick of the Arizona Cardinals to make a Pro Bowl? Jump in with PHNX. If you know the answer, put PHNX. We'll put you on the spot. And then we've got anywhere from 15 to 120 seconds that you can answer the question. We got any
All
PHNX?
Right. So Didi.
There we go.
And you got to be
Didi's-
in You got to be in Arizona too, by the way, to be able to pick this up. Didi in the
Ooh.
chat is following the rules. Didi, who you got as your response here for this answer? I love this answer so much. When Alex saying Bronny Venerable strikes again. Listen, I thought this was a fun. I knew what I wanted to.
If people, and you guys aren't casuals, but
Yeah.
day 1 is the first round. Day 2 is rounds 2 and 3, and then day 3 is rounds 4 through 7.
Here's the deal. Didi telling us he's not in Arizona. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm looking, you got to be in Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the chat right now, and somebody did.
I know. I love it. Is he a walking failure? Was that one of the things that was said about this player? Yeah.
Here's the best part about this player. He was not drafted by Steve Keim. So Steve Keim went over in 10 plus drafts on day 3 of the draft. Never found a Pro Bowler. Now, I think Jalen Thompson deserves to be a Pro Bowler. That's neither here nor there. And he was a supplemental draft pick.
Yeah.
Steve Keim did not draft this player.
Okay.
That's a clue.
Who's next on this list? Who's jumped in there?
I don't think we have any. I think people are dumbfounded. I might have gone too hard today. I need somewhere
that was so much pride. That's embarrassing.
Man, you
I see it. That's what I was talking about. Somebody
the right answer.
Somebody is jeoparding this and not doing it through the proper format. If you just say PHNX and then you have one of you has the correct answer, and it's close to where Didi chimed in on the chat. I'll give you that little hint.
Yeah, somebody in Arizona put in PHNX and let's take a guess here. It's tough, man. Is this too hard now? I need to scale it back for Friday's show.
Keep on seeing guesses, but I don't see anybody jumping in with PHNX.
All right, the next person that puts in the answer correctly and that is Arizona based gets the T-shirt, and I will tell you who it is. Jessica's putting in PHNX. Jessica, friend of the program.
Let's see,
Jessica. What do you got for a response here? Riveting podcasting this week, by the way.
Yeah, I see a couple of these answers in here. Larry's saying Carlos Dansby. Bird Gang saying, bro, I'm not even sure Bidwill knows this one.
Jessica is correct. It is Justin Bethel.
Yeah.
2012 6th-round pick, made multiple Pro Bowls, a 6th-rounder. Rod Graves, one of his last draft picks. He was with the Cardinals from 2012, 2017. Our guy Britton Oden knows Justin Bethel. He went to the Pro Bowl 3 times, most recently in 2015. He was an All-Pro that year. He was a phenomenal special teamer, but that just shows you. I want to just really emphasize how bad Steve Keim was at his job. 0 Pro Bowlers on day 3 of the NFL draft for Steve Keim.
That's unreal. Justin Bethel, great special teamer, bad cornerback. Because when I mentioned like Bruce Arians, when he had Bethel playing corner, he called him a failure in progress.
That's the kind of transparency I want, Jonathan Gannon. That's how it's done right there.
All right. Now hit us with the second
DM
question.
One of us.
Yeah.
We'll get your T-shirt size. We'll see you this weekend at Gila River. Again, you didn't win, but you want to come out. Of course, come out. But Jessica, big winner today.
Also entered to win free signed swag at the Gila River.
As is anyone that shows up.
Yeah, anybody who shows up.
There's so much stuff up for grabs.
Yeah. All right, read it, Johnny.
Question number 2, Bo Brock. You got this one.
Okay. When was the last road playoff win for the Arizona Cardinals? When was the last road playoff win for the Arizona Cardinals? I know this one.
A little bit easier.
Still got to go back.
Yeah, it wasn't yesterday. Certainly wasn't the game I attended at LA against Sean McVay's Rams.
Connor Stallions, PHNX. He's got his guess, 1998. That is not.
That is incorrect, Connor.
Yeah. Arizona Animal, PHNX, Green Bay. That is not correct either. That was here.
Cardinals own Green Bay, but all the games have been played at State Farm Stadium.
We got anybody else?
Put in the correct answer? I've seen the correct answer. Who's going to put it in? You got to name the game.
It was a horrible performance by the opposing quarterback. Wasn't it like 4 or 5 picks?
On his birthday. It was his birthday. On his birthday.
All right.
There
Guys,
it is. I see it. Jesus in the chat. PHNX 09 against whom? The Carolina Panthers. Jake Delhomme wets the bed. The Cardinals go in on the divisional round. Damon Dog. January 9th, 2009. Carolina, the divisional round en route to the Super Bowl. Like, I had to do a double take on that. I'm like, certainly they've won a home game or an away game on the road in the playoffs since the Super Bowl run. They haven't.
no.
They haven't. Most of them, unfortunately, have been unwatchable blowouts. So,
The next year they went on the road in New Orleans and lost, right?
Yeah.
And that was such a weird, funky postseason because the Cardinals snuck in, obviously is winning the NFC West, which is was not what it is now, where it was just a dumpster fire. They sneak in and they have to go on the road, and there was just a weird way that they got to host Philly in the NFC Championship game because Philly didn't win their division, right?
Yeah.
But they had a better record than the Cardinals.
Good times, man. I remember Trey Wingo opened up NFL Live and he said, "Don't adjust your screen. The Arizona Cardinals are hosting the NFC Championship game." And I was like, "Eat it, Trey Wingo." Good times, man. Jesus, local product, DM one of us, t-shirt size. We will see you this weekend at Gila River. Yeah, you guys are fantastic with these responses. We appreciate the engagement.
Arizona Animal 1898. Not that far back.
Very close. So Friday, we're going to do 2 more. I'm going to check with my peeps to see if we have more than 2 to give out. I think the plan is to do Friday show, the preview.
Oh, Friday, yeah.
Now the question is, Cardinal related, or do we get off the beaten path and do we do?
No, you know what? I'll come up with 2. You've locked and loaded 4. You know, a couple mid.
You don't want to mix in a Star Wars question in there? No, that's inappropriate.
I think we're good.
Wow, how dare you?
I think we're good.
You guys are great. Dirt Bike Boy, we got his t-shirt size. We're going to see Charles. Now we're going to see Jesus, Jessica. I want to see everybody at Gila River Wild Horse Pass this weekend for the watch party. Again, come out. I mean, if you live in the East Valley, it's like a 25-minute drive. And it is the sports book right now. Like, tell him, Damon. It is one of the nicest sports books I have ever been to.
Yeah,
I've been
it's really
to all
cool
in Vegas. We've got Top Golf, Han Shot First. I told you yesterday, get your ass out there. All of our peeps, we want you guys, number one, become diehards because we're going to be doing these events constantly. And then if you get some gear, man, if you become a diehard right now, as Bo said, 20% off all of your purchases at the merchandise locker. On top of that, we have a Black Friday deal coming up where it is just going to be an extravaganza of deals. But get started right now when you become a diehard, a free hat and or shirt. Anytime you come to our events with a hat or a shirt on, myself or Bo Brock or both of us are going to buy you a beer.
Yeah.
That's how we roll on this show.
Jamal, I apologize, man. You misheard or didn't understand the question. We'll get it. You still got opportunities on Friday to win a t-shirt. We'll get it up there. Damon's got it up on the screen. But yeah, I think is the Rams, was that the last regular season road win for the Cardinals? It might be with Colt McCoy in the lineup. That was a long time ago. It's been a calendar. It's going to be over a calendar year, whether or not they get one this year. But it's officially now with the losing this past weekend, they'll go over a calendar year without road win.
I'm ready to put my 401k with my friends at BetMGM that the Cardinals are going to beat the Chicago Bears in Chicago this year on Christmas Eve. Like that game that's a W for Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is going to go into Soldier Field and destroy the Chicago Bears. So they will exit this year with a
Kyler Claus. You're going to go in there on New Year's or Christmas Eve, a little early.
He's going to be giving out gifts, aka touchdowns. He's going to be Santa on Christmas Eve. I watched him play at Soldier Field in that fateful 2021 season. He and Hopkins and Budda Baker destroyed the Bears with Andy Dalton. It was fantastic. One of the best games I've seen live. And I think we're going to have a repeat performance of that. It all starts this weekend, though, folks. The return of Kyler Murray and now the return of James Conner. Bo, you absolutely love to see it.
Yep, can't beat it. We got your definitive preview show on Friday, 4:30. Are you going to be in studio?
Yes, I will be.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Can we do a show at 4 instead of 4:30? Is that okay?
We got to accommodate Johnny even more. Are you going to the Suns game that night?
I am. So then I got to run across the street to get to the Suns game. I'm taking my dad. I've never been to a Suns game. Taking my dad to his first Suns game. So if it's cool, Damon, I'll be in studio. Is it cool with everybody? We start a little early Friday.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, let's
4
just do
p.m.
whatever.
Let's do whatever it is that you want to do.
Another fun show. Yeah, we're going to have more. It doesn't stop tomorrow. Even though we don't have a show tomorrow, we will have content from practice, more Kyler Murray highlights. We've got more from Brian Baldinger set to hit the YouTube page tomorrow as well, and a post-practice breakdown from myself. And for you podcast listeners, an audio-only podcast will be right there for you. Late Thursday night for you people that stay up late, or early Friday morning. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Great job. Damon Dog, D-backs, I believe, have a show coming up here soon. You don't want to miss it. They got takeaways from Mike Hazen, Tori Lavello, more info on the D-backs, Snakes. In the meantime, have a great Wednesday night. We'll talk to you soon on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.